Welcome to today's presentation on antidepressants. In this pharmacology tutorial, we will explore the different classes of antidepressants, their mechanism of action, indications, side effects, and some of the nursing considerations. Depression is a common mood disorder that affects mood, sleep, appetite, and cognition. Antidepressants are medications that are primarily used to treat major depressive disorders, which is a condition associated with persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest in everyday activities. The treatment of depression depends on the patient's tolerance, response, and drug side effect profile. Even though the exact cause of major depressive disorder is still unknown, there is some evidence that suggests that depression is related to low levels of neurotransmitters called monoamines. These monoamines include serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. This brings us to what is known as a monoamine hypothesis. The monoamine hypothesis suggests that depression is linked to a deficiency of serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. Antidepressants work by increasing the levels of these neurotransmitters in the brain's synaptic cleft, helping to alleviate depressive symptoms. There are 6 main classes of antidepressants, which include selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors or SSRIs, serotonin-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, SNRIs, tricyclic antidepressants, monoamine oxidase inhibitors, atypical antidepressants, and serotonin modulators. First, let's focus on selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Examples of drugs in this class include Fluoxetine, Fluvoxamine, Sertraline, Paroxetine, Citalopram, and Escitalopram. The serotonin reuptake inhibitors are taken orally, and once absorbed into the bloodstream, they travel to the brain. In the brain, the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors inhibit the reuptake of serotonin neurotransmitter. As a result, the free levels of serotonin within the synaptic cleft are increased right away. The SSRIs are indicated for depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and obsessive compulsive disorder. The common side effects associated with SSRIs include sexual dysfunctioning, gastrointestinal upset, insomnia, and the risk of serotonin syndrome. Generally, the SSRIs are safer in overdose than other classes of antidepressants. Let us focus on one example of SSRIs known as Sertraline. Sertraline is taken orally and is rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream. Once this drug is in the bloodstream, it travels to the brain, inhibiting the reuptake of serotonin neurotransmitter, therefore increasing the level of serotonin within the synaptic cleft. Sertraline affects different types of receptors in the brain, for example those that regulate sleep, appetite, sexual function. So sertraline can cause insomnia, loss of appetite or weight gain, and sexual dysfunctioning. Sertraline also can cause hyponatremia. It happens possibly by increasing the secretion of antidiuretic hormone. Some other side effects of sertraline include anxiety, nausea, constipation, and bruxism or teeth clenching and grinding. SSRIs like sertraline can increase the risk of bleeding, especially if they are given along with antiplatelets or anticoagulant medications. And additionally, sertraline can cause serotonin syndrome, which usually occurs when it's combined with other antidepressants which increase the level of serotonin in the brain. Sertraline should be used in caution during pregnancy as well as in patients with hepatic impairment, acute ankylosing glaucoma, and risk factors of QT prolongation. Before administering sertraline, you need to obtain a baseline assessment of your patient's symptoms and a complete suicide risk assessment. You need to observe behavior and effect, recent changes in appetite and sleep patterns as well. Assess their baseline vital signs, weight, and you need to review the diagnostic tests such as kidney and liver function test, together with an ascertainment of pregnancy status. During the first few weeks of treatment, you need to monitor your patient closely for suicidal thoughts and monitor them for any side effects, together with an evaluation of the effectiveness of treatment. You then need to ensure that your patient understands why the medication has been prescribed. Put an emphasis on adherence and remind your patients that they should not stop taking the medication abruptly. Otherwise, educate them that it may take a few weeks to start feeling the therapeutic effects of sertraline after it has been administered. Let's then move ahead to serotonin-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. Serotonin-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors include Venlafaxine, Desvenlafaxine, and Fluoxetine. Serotonin-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors are taken orally, and once they reach the brain, they inhibit the reuptake of both serotonin and norepinephrine. This eventually increases the levels of serotonin and norepinephrine in the synaptic cleft. The indications of serotonin-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors besides major depressive disorder include fibromyalgia, diabetic neuropathy, generalized anxiety disorder, and neuropathic pain. The side effects associated with SNRIs include hypertension, dry mouth and insomnia, anxiety or nervousness, agitation or drowsiness, loss of appetite, and sexual dysfunction. Other side effects include headache, dizziness, sweating, and hyponatremia as well as bruxism. Now, the brain has different types of serotonin receptors besides the ones that are involved in depression. Some of these mediate functions, for example, mood, sleep, appetite, or sexual function. Additionally, the serotonin-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors and selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors can also cause serotonin syndrome. The serotonin-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors also increase the levels of norepinephrine, therefore they can cause side effects such as hypertension and tachycardia as well as closed-angle glaucoma or urinary retention. Antidepressants are contraindicated in patients who are using monoamine oxidase inhibitors, those with QT prolongation or myocardial infarction, pregnant patients, renal or hepatic disease, diabetes mellitus, glaucoma, and severely depressed patients with suicidal ideations. The next class of antidepressants is tricyclic antidepressants. The tricyclic antidepressants such as amitriptyline and imipramine work by inhibiting the reuptake of norepinephrine and serotonin. They also block multiple receptors, leading to anticholinergic side effects. An overdose is known to cause life-threatening cardiac toxicity. They are used for depression, chronic pain, migraine prophylaxis, and enuresis. The side effects associated with tricyclic antidepressants include anticholinergic side effects such as dry mouth and constipation, sedation, orthostatic hypotension, and cardiac toxicity in an overdose state. Monoamine oxidase inhibitors include phenelzine, tranylcypromine, and sertraline. They are used for atypical depression and Parkinson's disease, and they work by irreversibly inhibiting monoamine oxidase A and B. Some of the side effects associated with monoamine oxidase inhibitors include hypertensive crisis with theramine-containing foods and serotonin syndrome. Atypical antidepressants include Bupropion, which affects the dopamine and norepinephrine receptor and is also used for smoking cessation. Mirtazapine is another example of atypical antidepressants, which is an alpha-2 antagonist that increases the serotonin and norepinephrine. It is known to cause sedation and weight gain. Lastly, we have Trazodone, which is a serotonin modulator with very sedating side effects and is used for insomnia. What is serotonin syndrome? Serotonin syndrome usually occurs when the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors are combined with other antidepressants which increase the level of serotonin in the brain. The common example is monoamine oxidase inhibitors. Patients who develop serotonin syndrome typically present with skin flushing, hypothermia, agitation, muscle rigidity, clonus, seizures, altered mental status, or even coma. The main cause of serotonin syndrome is basically an excess serotoninogenic activity. And the triggers for serotonin syndrome are a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors which are combined with monoamine oxidase inhibitors. An immediate discontinuation of the drugs, supportive care, including cyproheptadine, is essential in managing serotonin syndrome. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts in young adults and adolescents, especially in the first weeks of therapy. Therefore, patients must be closely monitored and the families informed during the treatment planning process. Some clinical paths for antidepressants pharmacology is that antidepressants often take 4 to 6 weeks to show their full therapeutic effects. The TCAs are dangerous in overdose, and monoamine oxidase inhibitors require a strictly dietary restriction, and all antidepressants carry a black box warning for suicide risk in younger populations. The nurses should assess the baseline vital status, monitor the mental health status of the patient, the side effects, avoid abrupt withdrawal of the medication, teach dietary restrictions associated with monoamine oxidase inhibitors, monitor for suicidal thoughts, especially during the first few weeks, assess for the pregnancy status, the serum electrolytes, kidney and liver function test, and the weight. Regarding the client education, you need to advise them that the therapeutic effects can take 1 to 3 weeks. They should take the medication exactly as prescribed, report any changes in symptoms or suicidal thoughts or to a healthcare provider, administer the medication usually in the morning, and avoid hazardous activities with fatigue and dizziness.